Hi, I'm S.A. Cosby. I'm a crime author, and I've written 4 novels, Blacktop Wasteland, Razor Blade Tears, All the Sinners Bleed, and my new novel, King of Ashes.
Each one more brilliant than the next. My name is Adam Lazarre-White. I'm an actor and narrator, and I have the honor of voicing all of S.A. Cosby's books, Blacktop Wasteland, Razor Blade Tears, King of Ashes, and All the Sinners Bleed. What do I like most about his writing? I think the authenticity of the world and the characters. My father is from North Carolina, and as soon as I read the first book, Blacktop Wasteland, I immediately recognized half the characters in the book. They tend to be a little more evil, but they sound like my family. They talk like my family. I imagine they walk like my family. But that authenticity. But S.A. also has a wonderful poet in him. And some of his paragraphs, sometimes when I get finished, I'll say to my engineer, who I like to work with, John, wow, that was pretty good, huh? And he's like, yeah, man, he's poetic. So he mixes together the authenticity of kind of working class people and poetry. And I think that's really, really what I love about it the most.
When they first sent us the audio audition tapes for the narrators for Blacktop Wasteland, they sent me like 4 or 5, and I think the first 4 were, you know, they were trying a little too hard to be too Southern, and so they ended up sounding like cartoon characters. And the moment I heard Adam's voice, I said to a friend of mine, he sounds the way Bug sounds in my head. It was like the perfect cadence, the perfect sort of syncopation, the way he delivered the lines, the way he delivered the performance. And then to move on to the other characters, the thing I love about his work so much is not only is he can create incredible voices, incredible characters, just out of his, natural oeuvre, but he also interprets and understands the characters in a way that really means a lot to me. Again, having roots in North Carolina, there's a certain sort of authenticity to his work that comes through, that shines through. And for me as a writer, there's no higher honor than having someone who can interpret your work and understand it and articulate it in a way that you are happy with at the end of the day.
Well, every time you ask me a question, do I have a favorite character? I'm going to say that's a hard question to answer because I have like 3 favorite characters in every book. But I think, the lead character in all of his books is a hero on some level. And so Beauregard, who is called Bug, or Rome in the most recent book, of course, I identify with them. But the truth is that I have a love for bad guys. I tend to play some bad guys, too, in my on-camera career. The very first book, Blacktop Wasteland, there was this bad guy who I think he loves. Yeah. Because the way he described him, there was words like sing-song and a flop of curly hair, and all of a sudden, and he's white. So I could give him a little bit of Appalachian Ozark hard R sort of sing-song sort of person. And he just has relish for evil, and that's fun. And this character is not too far away from one of the leads in Razor Blade Tears in terms of how he sounds. Buddy Lee is another fun one, but this character's name is Lazy, and anybody who has the name Lazy is fun to play. For sure.
It's so funny that he brought up Lazy. The character's name is Lazy Mother's Ball. He's a Appalachian crime lord. And when I wrote the character, I wanted him to be both intimidating and creepy, but also charismatic. And as I wrote it, I wasn't sure that I was getting that across. But the first time I heard his performance as Lazy, it unnerved me because I realized, he's scary. He's very scary. He's intensely frightening. And so that really blew me away. I've always sort of appreciated that. But then also bringing Buddy Lee to life, which is, Buddy Lee and Ike in Razor Blade Tears are 2 sides of the same coin. One's very humorous and effervescent. One's very stoic, but they work together really well. And again, you're writing something, writing is like telling yourself a joke for 9 months and hoping everybody else gets the punchline. And so I didn't know if Buddy Lee's comedy and his humor would land. And Adam's performance was so sparkling with it. Like the jokes that were supposed to hit hard. The jokes that were supposed to hit light. And then the ultimate compliment as a writer is that when Buddy Lee had to get serious, he was able to like do that effortlessly. And so for me, those two performances stand out. But I said again, I'll go back. He's Bug. Like in my mind, that's how Bug talks. And so that's when I first heard his voice. I was like, oh, that I found Bug, and I was so happy about that.
The work that we do as actors is one where we try to embody a character, and if you're on camera, sometimes you're working without the script or the director's asking you to improvise. So what happens for me is that I'll just start talking as lazy to myself, and I'll start going into something. And then if I'm in Bug, I'm talking as myself as Bug. His words are beautiful, but being able to embody the thought process really as an actor is what really takes you where you want to go, where you're thinking the thoughts of the character. And so even though I'm reading and all the script is there, the process for me is very similar to acting. I'm in character. And so the thought process of that character, that relish I was talking about with lazy, relishing not in your pleasure, but in your pain. That's what he's relishing in. But I'm playing lazy with a smile behind the mic the whole time because he's relishing everything. And someone like Ike, who's stoic, both these fathers have rejected their respective sons because they were gay or LGBTQ. And so they share this regret when their sons, this is no spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen Razorblade Tears, the book begins at a funeral for these two young men and these fathers who come from opposite ends of the spectrum, one black, one white, one kind of trailer trash for lack of a better term, and one ex-con, have to go on a revenge mission together to avenge their son's death. And they, I guess you would say they get woke in the process.
Yeah, some people get unwoke.
Exactly.
That's the thing about Adam's work that just always blows me away is the ability to not only create these distinct characters with just his voice, but also inhabit their world, their mind, their views, their fears, their wants and needs. And so I listen to the audiobooks when they're done because there's such an incredible wealth of performance talent in there that I want to listen to it as I'm driving around. And so again, it's that thing where I wrote it, but I still find myself surprised at the way a character sounds, or the inference, or the syntax that he's using to illustrate how a character's feeling. Like with Ike is very stoic. Ike is very quiet, but there's a quiet pain and menace in his voice that the right actor has to find that sort of middle ground somewhere, and he just does that effortlessly.
And in the first book, one of my favorite characters is Bug's mother, who is my grandmother. But she's mean-spirited in the book, and my grandmother is kind of the life of the party person. But they sound the same, baby,
That was one of my favorite performances, too. I really enjoyed that.
Why don't you come down here and set for a while, that stuff. Yeah. But if you did it with Bug's mama, she's about to say something mean to you, make you feel bad for about 6 months.
Get your feelings hurt. You can find King of Ashes wherever audiobooks are sold.